All right, and welcome back to another Reflection Friday. So, very excited to have my guest on here today. Get to sit down here and talk with the man Gary Harper. So, one of our good buddies over here at Simple. So, Gary, thanks a lot for joining me, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Brian. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Thanks for thinking
problem.
of me.
Yeah. So Reflection Friday, we like to just kind of sit back and just kind of have a conversation about, hey, what were you doing before you got into real estate investing, and then how has real estate investing changed your life? So, Gary, I know you come from the business world and have been doing you've done a lot of things in your life. I feel like every time I talk to you, I hear about something else. I'm like, oh man, I didn't know you did that. So before you really got into that real estate investing world, what were you doing, man?
So, I mean, before, like, my adulthood in the career business really started off, and I was a janitor of all things. I started off cleaning a church, and my wife, and then started doing some police work, and did that for about a year and a half, and then my kids were starting to be born, and my wife didn't like me carrying on a Glock 9mm with little kids, and so I retired that, and actually got rid of my guns at that time, and then went into Chicago and started working in Chicago as an entry-level employee in an outsourcing company that bound books. It was, they literally bound books for a production company, for material production or media production. And I did that at like $7.15 an hour, worked my way up, and was able to work my way up to mid-level management in that company, and then ended up through some buyouts and things like that. I worked my way up to a national manager of business initiatives and development. And long title, but basically I was a hybrid between sales and operations, and basically was a liaison between any new client coming on, and also making sure somewhat almost of a leads towards like a customer service person, but on a national level with some of our top clients around the country. And so I was pretty young still. I was to attain that position at a very young age. And then I actually went from that into working for a company called Archer that was bought out by a company called Osei that was bought out by a company called Canon. So to save people a lot of frustration and brain damage, I always tell people I worked for Canon for like 17 years because it was the same company. It just kept getting bought out. And nice thing about that was I was able to work myself up to upper management, executive level, and not a lot of training, not a lot of like college. I did go to college. I studied pastoral theology, and got that, but it was non-accredited, as most Christian colleges are these days, and so the degree didn't do much for me for a business perspective, but it did teach me good moral values and biblical beliefs, and it taught me theology, and it taught me psychology and some things like that I still use today. Actually, when I help clients with their core values, I refer back to an exercise in psychology that I actually got to me in college. But worked my way up to that. Had about over almost 750 employees at one point, and many middle manager, what do I say, mid-level managers, and then I worked my way up to that, and then I started dabbling in real estate a little bit around 2004. I should back it up a little bit. 97, I started doing more as a laborer for my brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
2004, I started borrowing money, and then having rentals, and then I started a property management company, and I was still full-time in Chicago, though. It wasn't a full-time gig for me. It wasn't actually until 2011 I got bit by a tick, came down Lyme disease, that I made the jump from corporate America into real estate full-time. And so that's kind of my journey a little bit before real estate.
Yeah. So let's talk kind of about that transition then of you getting hooked up with Wayne. Wayne's your brother-in-law, is that right?
Yeah.
So you getting kind of hooked up with him and starting to just get into all kinds of real estate and doing, all kinds of rentals, all kinds of wholesales, all kinds of rehabs and things like that. So getting into it, it's kind of talk about maybe a little bit about that transition of like how that just kind of changed your life, the way you were thinking about it, the way you could, interact with your wife and and raise your kids and things like that. So how did real estate investing change your life that way?
Well, I mean, I think investing, started probably the mindset of it all. My brother-in-law, being who he is, he's about 10 years north of me. And he's always like been somewhat of a second dad, always trying to encourage me to invest and work on myself and all that. And at age 12, he handed me a bunch of baseball cards and taught me the value of investing and saving, and value of material to a degree. And so that mindset kind of carried on. But I think 1999 to 2000, 2001, where most people started. I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then Charlton Sheets stuff. I don't know if anybody on your group would know of Sheets, but I think he recently passed away. But I read a lot of his stuff and bought one of his seminar packages when they were on cassette tapes. And crazy. I look back, it's been like some 20 some years since I've been started in real estate. And like all this stuff we used to buy in the 90s, man, the commercials were, all about renting, all about buy and hold. Nothing was active in real estate, really. Nobody really talked about active side of it very much, or the fix and flip and all that. Everything was very much like create a cash flow through, owning assets and passive income, and work your regular job, but get enough saved up that you can quit your regular job. And that, so if you remember any of that training. But then I went into like 2004. It was becoming, starting to become more of an active play for me, where I wanted to fix and flip and then buy and hold at the same time. And I don't know, well, first thing I think it gave me the ability to overcome fear. And fear is an interesting thing for people, right? You think, well, how do you overcome fear by investing in a risk, something risky, or investing period? Well, because when I saw it work, and it actually had some fruits of the labor, if you will, it gave me the ability to look past a job, and it gave me the ability to, and confidence to be able to take care of myself, and when you're corporate America, fear is used a lot. It's used as a motivator to stay trapped. Well, you don't want to lose that cushy job, and you're making 200,000 plus a year. You don't want to lose that lifestyle. And and even your boss to agree to be like, hey man, if we pay you pretty well around here, so if you want to keep this job, you might want to go the extra mile a little bit. There's little hints here and there that drop that fear factor on you. And so real estate gave me that freedom of mind. Everybody talks about freedom of time, and the freedom of mind became very important to me at that point. Like I felt like I could do this, and I didn't need a job at that time, or, and it's not that I ran from it right away. I didn't. It took other measures to push me away, but at least the anxiety wasn't quite as high anymore, And then making the transition and jump into it full time was more pushed hard. I mean, I got sick, came out with Lyme's disease. And when that happened, it pushed me pretty hard to reevaluate the priorities of my life. You get to the end of your life, or perceived end of life, and you get this thing like I call mortality motivation, to where you start to like really look back on your life and go, did I live the life I should have lived? Did you do what you were supposed to do? Did you accomplish your purpose, right? What was your why? Why are you here? And all those questions that we typically don't ask till the end of like 65, 70 years. I was asking at 35 years old. And honestly, man, I didn't feel comfortable with the answer. I always tell people, when you get to the end of life, whether it's a young age or an old age, you will give an account of yourself and the time you spent. And I think, it was an eye opener for me to give that account of my time at 35. And I got to a point where I didn't want to, I just didn't want to ever experience that unfulfilledness again. If I ever got close to the end of death, I didn't want to have, well, lo and behold, will be me if it happened like unexpectedly even, like, do you want to leave a legacy or not? And, and that part about where we spend our time is a part of that legacy. So, I got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm going to do this full time, because I want to make sure I'm using my life in the right manner and not just lining somebody else's pockets and so forth. So that's what it gave to me. It gave me that freedom of mind. But then once I got into it, I'm going to be really honest with you, Brian. I didn't like real estate. I know a lot of people, shame on you, you're on a real estate podcast, but I never did. I've never liked real estate. It's crazy. I always tell people real estate was the thing that got me to my thing. And it gave me freedom is what it gave me. And whether I like it or not, is irrelevant. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do just to get to where you need to be. And real estate was just that thing for me. There were aspects of it I like. I like negotiating, right? I like being creative. I like finding solutions. I like helping people. I like all those things. But you can't do that every single time in real estate, right? Yeah. And a lot of times you buy houses from transactional based sellers, or what I call transactional based buying. which is like HUD and auctions and things like that, you're not really helping anybody, right? Like you're just buying a materialistic asset. And there's really nobody. I mean, I guess you can make up theories about how you're helping somebody or something, but at the end of the day, you're not really helping somebody, like knocking on somebody's door and they're about to lose their house in foreclosure on Friday, and you're able to pay them $20,000 more than they owe, and keep them from the house from selling for $20,000 less at the auction, and that's a good day for me, and I think that's ultimately what it gives me. And I don't know, I hope that answers your question a little bit.
No, it definitely answered my question. And it's the thing it's the thing I love about you the most too, is that we've kind of had that conversation a little bit before of like how, you're not really necessarily passionate about real estate, but what you're passionate about is helping other people and working with other people. And that's what your gift is. And if anybody doesn't know Gary, man, he's kind of known as like the systems and process whisperer for real estate investors, companies in general, and things like that. I know that's how he helps us out. And, so that's kind of like the last question I have for you, Gary, is I know we can, on this, we usually do a Reflection Friday. We have, hey, what were you doing before? And how has real estate investing changed your life? What I want to know from you a little bit is, because you help so many other people, help so many other companies, entrepreneurs, other businesses, basically allow, through you, they're able to have real estate investing change their life. So what does it mean to you to be able to say like, yeah, man, I look at Brett and Brian in their business, or, I look at, Dan and Jake in their business, or any of these other people, be able to reach out and help them. What does that mean to you to be able to help other people change their lives through real estate investing?
Well, I don't get choked up much, but man, you start asking me questions like that and brings a tear to my eye, honestly. I didn't grow up rich. My mom and dad worked really hard growing up, and dad gave 21 years to the military, and we didn't have a lot. But you know what? We never knew we didn't have a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just family, and you did what you did. We grew up in West Virginia. A big part of my life was in West Virginia, and I still have a lot of family there now. And, giving somebody the opportunity to be able to leave a legacy, help their children, spend more time with their kids, not manipulate their time for money. Like, that's a passion I have. I mean, I really, truly, at the end of the day, it's not about the money for me. If you came to my house, you saw where I live. I live in a bi-level. I had Will Hall, Will Hall. They came up to Northwest Indiana, and they came to my house. And I think they were maybe a little shocked that I don't live in some like 5,000 square foot home. And I just don't. I don't need it. I have 2 kids that are grown now. I just, materialistic things. My wife had me buy a Roadster this year. And I felt guilty like from the moment I bought it for buying it, because I'm never buying anything for myself, And it was one of these things that we wanted to get as soon as the kids left, where we could go on little trips, and just a small little car. And I bought it during the COVID virus and all that. And it was honestly one of the most amazing deals. I paid almost a regular price of a car. Didn't pay some extravagant price for it or anything. But I like to be able to, I always tell people, I like to give up my life to help others. And ultimately to honor God in a way, because I think that's the way he would want us to live our life. And so like life is an acronym. It stands for labor. I want to give them my labor. I want to give them my influence, help, anything I'm knowledgeable on. I want to influence others on my finances and my experience. And so, I love to be able to give and help other people. And when I think about like how it's might be changing somebody's life, and mind you, at the end of the day, like, we're just a voice. We're just the process. We're just a method. We're just a system at the end of the day. It takes people, good people, hardworking people, to execute on it, right? It's I got a call today, and the guy's like, so are you going to be able to help me get to the freedom mark? You will help me get this way, go this way in my business? And I said, man, well, I can show you the path, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, man, it's not up to me, right? Mm-hmm. And so I really look at it like a partnership, and I think that's why it brings a little tear to my eye, to be honest with you, because it's not always an easy road to get there, but what getting there is very fulfilling with the client. And then, so there's a lot of heart, thought, sweat, tears, all that goes into it. But I think that's why I get choked up, is because it takes equal amount of work on their part to get there, and to know somebody's willing to commit and work hard and do that with us on the journey, and then allow us to be a part of that success at the end, is, I don't know, honestly, me, man, it's pretty humbling. I feel very honored to work with somebody like you, and to work with somebody like Brett and other people that we've had a chance to work with. You guys are high quality individuals, and I don't want to take away from anybody's success and perseverance with anything that I've done, other than I've enabled and giving somebody the right mindset, maybe helped them overcome a fear, helped them make the right connection at times, or help them put a system and process in that maximize their potential. And so I think at the end of the day, that's what makes me probably the happiest, is knowing that, not only we get to do this, but we get to do it with some pretty cool people, some pretty high quality people too.
So awesome, man. So no, I appreciate you so much. And you definitely are helping lives and changing lives, man. So that's hopefully you're able to kind of reflect on how real estate investing has changed your life, but also how you're helping use that vehicle to change other people's lives as well, man. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you and you taking some time out for me today. And with that, thanks a lot for everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week with another Reflection Friday.